Hello everyone, welcome to Kambel Teachers Desk. My name is Moses Katamari. This discussion of Kambel Teachers Desk is going to focus on the responsibilities of a teacher. In the first place, we will look at who a teacher is. Then we move on and look at the responsibilities of a teacher. In my previous discussion and the opening of this program, I asked several questions concerning the teacher, concerning education, and concerning stakeholders in education. I also spoke about how in our school, some people in our school days or in your school days, you have passed through the hands of teachers who were good to you. They were teachers who actually were a problem more or less to you and affect your education negatively. So in this discussion, we want to focus on the responsibilities of a teacher. Now, so when they say a teacher, who is a teacher? In my simple definition or explanation of a teacher, we can say that a teacher is a facilitator of knowledge. In other words, we can say that a teacher is supposed to guide people to acquire knowledge and skills and to become their best self or achieve their goals and aspirations in the educational process or in their education. There are other angles that we can look at who a teacher is. In the first place, in a formal way, a teacher is somebody who is trained to impart knowledge. A teacher is somebody who is trained to impart knowledge to learners. And the learners can be pupils and they can be students. They can be young and they can be adults. Does everybody who impart knowledge or facilitate acquisition of knowledge and skills, we can say that person is a teacher in the formal context. Before the formal education that we have experienced or our pupils and students are experiencing now, we know there were informal ways of education, and in this context, people were trained in their home to learn handiworks. All these people who impart knowledge, we can say informally, they are teachers. Everybody who help people to acquire knowledge and some skill sets, we can say they are teachers. However, our discussions in the context of Kambel Teachers Desk, we are looking at teachers in the formal setting of education. And in the formal setting of education, we are looking at from nursery to secondary school, and we can also refer to professional and institutions and universities. But our focus now is on the responsibilities of a teacher. The first thing that everybody think of when they talk about a teacher is supposed to teach, a teacher is supposed to impart knowledge. But a teacher's work goes beyond imparting only knowledge or teaching pupils and students in the class. However, so in the first place, with the statement I have made already, you will agree with me that a teacher is supposed to impart knowledge or facilitate knowledge acquisition. There are different ways the teacher will do this, but the teacher's main aim is to help people and students acquire knowledge and skill sets. In doing this, there are so many things come the teacher's ways, which become the function of a teacher. The first one, or I would say the second one, is that in a school setting, the immediate manager of pupils and students is the teacher. The teacher manages his or her class, organizes the pupils and students for them to acquire knowledge in the classroom. And to do this, the teacher needs to manage the differences, the behaviors of the pupils and students in order that they can pay attention to whatever lesson is going on, for all of them to participate in the teaching and learning process and to acquire knowledge. Thus, apart from teaching the pupils and students, the teacher is a manager of his or her class. That is a responsibility. Another responsibility we can talk about in this context is the teacher manages the pupils, not only manage them. The teacher also try to discover the pupils and students, their weaknesses, their strengths, in order to help them acquire knowledge in the teaching and learning process. And that you will see that in managing pupils and students, the teacher tries as much as possible to identify the pupils and their strengths, weaknesses, in order to help them acquire knowledge. Therefore, the teacher is not only teaching or imparting knowledge, it organizes the pupils and students and also manage their behaviors or their strengths and weaknesses. Apart from that, we can also say that a teacher is somebody who gives guidance. So teachers are more or less guidance and counseling coordinators. They guide the pupils, they coordinate them, and to make sure that they go through the process. So guidance and counseling is part of a teacher's work. Teachers also function like foster parents in the school setting. A child may have a father or mother. However, when they come to the school setting, the teachers become more or less their foster mothers or foster parents and foster fathers. And they are supposed to do this in order that the children will feel relaxed, safe, confident within the school setting, in order that they can be able to learn and learn effectively. That is why you realize that teachers don't only teach, like I said, They also take up the responsibilities of parenthood. They become parents of the pupils and students in the school setting. Apart from that, we can say teachers are administrators. Teachers are administrators in the school setting. Teachers are assigned some other responsibilities, and these responsibilities are towards the pupils and students. That is why, as administrator, the teacher is appointed to be in charge of a class, or in charge of a subject, in charge of a department, or even in charge of either administrative work or academic work. What you take note of in this function is that teachers at the higher level, you see that, for example, in the secondary school setting, apart from, in some schools, apart from the principal of the school or the head teacher of the school, all other teachers, apart from teaching in the classroom, they also have administrative duties. And all these duties are part of the teacher's function in the school setting. It will surprise you if I say that teachers in some contexts manage pupils like health workers. If something happens within a school setting, for example, which it is a health issue, it is the teacher who is supposed to take care of that first aid issue, give first aid to the pupils and students, or who is having a health problem, before they take that child to the clinic or to the hospital. So in this context, you realize that the teacher's work is so enormous, so much, and that what the teacher needs is support, is an encouragement and not discouragement. When a teacher's work is encouraged, they do well, they do better. But when teacher's work is discouraged, what happens to the teacher is that they are frustrated sometimes in their work. That is why this discussion, even though we are focusing on the functions or the duties of a teacher, we have to emphasize that all these duties that the teacher performs, all of them are supposed to inure to the benefit of the pupils and students, who are our daughters, who are our sons, who are our family members. That is why it is needed, we need to know what the teacher goes through. The teacher is a caretaker. Sometimes you can imagine in your house, we are talking about the functions of a teacher, and this time around I'm going to focus on managing pupils and students, or managing them as children at home. Let's look at this. At home, maximum in olden days, you see 10 children within the same family who are managed by the same mother or father. Nowadays, in our modern time now, in a house, a father, parents, couple maximum will have 4 children. Can you imagine this responsibility that you have in the house to manage maximum 4 children in your house? What is the experience like? That is what I want to ask. What is the experience like for you as a parent? Can you imagine one person in the context of either nursery or primary? One person managing 10 pupils, 15 pupils, 20 pupils, 25 pupils, 30 pupils. It will not surprise many parents or some people that even in our public schools in Africa, there are classrooms that a teacher manages more than 30, 40 pupils and students. So you will see that the function of a teacher is so huge, and that's what the teacher needs from all of us as parents, as guardians, is an encouragement and a support, not discouragement. Sometimes there are things that happen, we blame the teacher. Yes, the teacher is trained to manage these pupils and students, facilitate knowledge and skills, knowledge or facilitate learning in the classroom, in the teaching and learning process. But with some other functions that I have stated now, you realize that the teacher's work goes beyond that. If you look at only the teacher's work as a teacher, the teacher needs to write a scheme of work, lesson notes, teach in the classroom, mark register, mark assignments, mark tests, and also be able to manage the pupils and students, their behavior and everything. Apart from that, you have truant pupils and students who a teacher must make sure that they come to terms with the purpose of their coming to school. So you will agree with me that the teacher's work is so much. And what the teacher needs from us is an encouragement to be able to perform their functions and perform it effectively and diligently. What do you have to say about this? Will you agree with me now that we should not take a teacher's work for granted? If you really know what you go through as a parent in your home, managing 4 or 3, 4, 5 pupils and pupils in your house or in your wards, or those that you are guiding in the house, how much more a teacher who is going to manage pupils and students 20 to 30, 40, they need encouragement in order that frustration and stress will not override their work. And that if we encourage them, it will help them to work effectively. We will come to look at some of the ways that we will have to encourage a teacher or a school or educational workers in the school system in order that they can give out their best. In one of my discussions when I was looking at effective classroom management, I made a statement. I will still stand by that statement. However, I will still give another part of that statement to conclude this discussion. That statement was that If we are determined to give out our best, in other words, if you are ready to give out your best self, you can bring out the best in other people, or you can bring out the best in your pupils and students. That was my statement to teachers. However, if we, those who are parents, guardians of these pupils and students, if we are ready to encourage teachers, educational workers in the school, they will be able to give out their maximum best. They can do their best. But if they see that those that are their stakeholders are giving them good encouragement and they support them when things are not going well, they try to put their heads together with them to see how to solve the problem, our teachers can do their best and bring out the best in their pupils and students. Thus, to conclude this discussion, I've gone through some of the functions or duties of a teacher. I laid bare how the teacher's work is in the classroom. I tried to relate the teacher's work to what parents do in the house, the number of pupils that are managed in the house, and the number of pupils and students that one teacher will have to manage in the classroom, or a few teachers will manage in the school setting. So you realize that this is an odious task for educational workers, particularly teachers in the school. And what they need from us is support. I hope you will be a good support to our teachers to bring out the best in the African students. We know our pupils have capabilities that needs to be discovered and bring out for them to become their best self or to achieve their educational goals. But the person who is their immediate caretaker or foster parents who have to teach them, we also need to encourage them. And we believe that when we encourage teachers, our educational workers, they will bring out their best. And if all other things that they need in order to do their work are provided, they will do so much well, and our children, our pupils and students will also do well, because when they are encouraged, they will look out for the weaker pupils and students. They will try to help them to get out of their difficulties or their troubles, and at the end, they are bringing out good pupils and students who become adults who will contribute to the development of our countries. I hope you continue to follow us, and our appeal is that you subscribe to our channel, Kambel Masterclass. And if you subscribe to Kambel Masterclass, when we put out our videos for Kambel Teachers Decks, you'll be able to view, listen to the discussions, and also help education, not only in your country, but in the whole of Africa. Remember, at Kambel Teachers Decks, we anchor vision and mission. We hope you continue to follow this program, because we know it will help in creating awareness about education and also the work of a teacher in the classroom or in the school system. Thank you so much.